All right, YouTube, what is going on? It is Zaya here from Zaya and the Steelers, and we are back with another video. And in this video, we're going to be talking about some of the key position battles that are going to be happening at training camp. If you guys don't know, Steelers reported to training camp today, I believe today. If not Monday, I assume, beginning of the week. And I also think all other teams are at training camp officially now. So everybody's at training camp. And the Steelers specifically, we have a few key positions that are up for grabs per se. But first, before we get started, I just want to give a shout out to Nick Farbaugh specifically, because not only do we have this article written by him, but we also have this tweet we're going to be showing off by Nick. So shout out to Nick, and also shout out to Steelers Now. This is a really good website. I actually discovered this while doing these Steelers videos. I didn't know that this website existed, but yeah, it has a bunch of news. In this article, we're gonna see what Nick said. And I'm going to give my thoughts and my takes, and I'm going to see what he has to say, and I'm going to see who he has winning some of these battles. First off, though, as I mentioned, we do have a tweet from Nick, and he said the Steelers are good health-wise and conditioning-wise. They expect everyone to be ready to go tomorrow. Theoretically means no guys heading to the PUP. So let me get a gunshot. Hold on, let me get a gunshot for that. I wasn't ready, but let me get a gunshot for that. All of us are healthy. Literally, the whole team is healthy. And on top of that, this isn't going to be in this video, and it's not really a part of the position battle per se. But we don't have anybody holding out. We don't have anybody holding in, holding out, practicing at the facility, but away from the team. You know how Deontay did and other players, like practicing with the team, but they're in a different locker room and their lunchtime is 10 minutes earlier. This isn't happening this year. We're all together, all healthy, and I think that right there, it's a new sign. It's a special sign. It should be a sign of good things to come. I can't remember the last time we didn't have somebody hurt or just holding out for whatever reason. So that's huge. First on the list is going to be left tackle. Now, I'm going to give my takes on the position battle, and then I'll go ahead and read what Nick has to say. It's on the screen for you guys, so you guys can read him before, listening to me. But left tackle, we know it's a battle between Broderick Jones, our first round draft pick, and we know it's between Dan Moore. Maybe there's another player in there, but really it's about Broderick and it's about Dan Moore. And listen, I know I can see the winner prediction. He has Broderick Jones, so that's a bit of a spoiler. I'm going to go up real quick just to get the spoiler out of the way. But listen, I know we shouldn't just slander people, and I know the players are humans, and I know they have feelings, and I know they're professional athletes, right? So I preface all of that with that. Like, Dan Moore is much better than me at probably everything besides making Steelers podcast, because I'm eating right now. But Dan Moore is probably better than me at everything. However, I do not want to see Dan Moore playing. I hate to say it. I do not want to see Dan Moore in the starting lineup. Now, I get Broderick Jones has to earn the position. I get Broderick Jones, if you just hand it to him, then, maybe he gets spoiled and he's like, oh, I want to be the quarterback. Maybe that'll happen. I don't know. But starting out, Dan Moore is the listed starter. He will be the starter tomorrow for reps and stuff. And listen, once again, we know Broderick Jones is probably 100% going to win this battle. We know that. And Dan Moore is probably going to be a great depth piece, a great backup. However, it's somebody who has played, he's started, but in terms of starter, I don't think Dan Moore is that guy. However, as a backup, as someone to come in, and maybe later in the season we need a body, Dan Moore, hell yeah. I think that's a great idea. However, starting, we haven't had the best times with Dan Moore besides the one game he locked up Myles Garrett. He's, I think, a 7th round pick, if not like a undrafted, maybe even 4th round pick. Maybe I'm sleeping on Dan Moore, but we all know how it is. And listen, I'm sitting here dancing around it, but Steelers fans, if you guys are watching this, if you guys have watched the games, Dan Moore has been a liability. We all know it. And so with that said, I think Broderick Jones is going to win the job. That is what Nick says as well. Let's see what he says. This is the biggest battle of Steelers training camp to me. I'm not sure how it is close. Broderick Jones will start at some point, but will it be at the outset? I think Dan Moore Jr. is going to give Jones a real push. Moore is stronger and reworked his body completely. Meanwhile, Jones is an athletic and has more run game upside, but they can't play him if he's going to get Kenny Pickett killed, especially with 2 verified concussions in Pickett's portfolio. This will all come down to a few factors, but none more important than how quickly Jones progresses throughout training camp and comes together as a complete player. For right now, I lean on the draft capital and say he should be the slight favorite here, but if he loses it, I will not be shocked. Shout out to Nick. Excellent words from Nick. I get it. I mean, Broderick Jones hasn't played an NFL snap yet. I get, you got to be careful. However, this point right here of they can't play him if he's going to get Kenny Pickett killed, especially with 2 verified concussions in Pickett's portfolio. We let Dan Moore play when Big Ben was out there. And listen, maybe I'm sleeping. Offensive line is hard to judge. I get it. Let me know if I'm tweaking. Let me know if Dan Moore is like that. But I'm going to go out on a limb here, guys. Dan Moore was letting Big Ben get killed. Dan Moore was letting Kenny Pickett get killed. I hate to say it. And granted, he has the experience. And apparently, I didn't know this, but he has reworked his body completely. What that means, this dude he has an 8-pack or something. I don't know what that means. But, his body is reworked. He's coming in. He thinks he can win the job. Yeah, I give it to him. More power to Dan Moore. Hopefully he's coming in with his best. And like I said, if he can be a great depth piece for us, that would be huge. Off of past seasons, off of bias, I would really like to see Broderick Jones out there. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see how much Dan Moore ends up playing, how much he ends up starting. This really could end up being like a 1 preseason game kind of thing where Dan Moore is a starter for a preseason game or like maybe week 1 or something. But after that, it'll be Broderick. And I think, that's a safe bet. And so I guess I wouldn't be shocked either, Nick, but I mean, I can't. Backup center. Now, backup center is I'm going to read this because I think it's Spencer Anderson, Kendrick Green, and Ryan McCollum. I'm reading these. To be honest, I don't know who Ryan McCollum is. So really, I think it's between Kendrick Green and Spencer Anderson. We all know James Daniels. He is the starting center. James Daniels was like a huge pickup for us, I believe, last season. Low key too. No one really made a mention of it. But he played well last year, and he played well for us. And now it's going to be between Kendrick Green, Spencer Anderson, and Ryan McCollum. I'm not scrolling down because I don't want to get it spoiled. Listen. Kendrick Green, I said all this stuff about Dan Moore, right? What I said for Dan Moore, say it about Kendrick Green too. Kendrick Green, I don't want to see Kendrick Green on the field, unfortunately. And you know what? I have even less sympathy for Kendrick Green than I do Dan Moore. And not sympathy, but you know what I mean? Like a less, I guess, slack or whatever. Kendrick Green, it was a bad pick. Kendrick Green is not Marquise Pouncey. Kendrick Green is barely a center. So with that said, Kendrick Green, I'm sure you're a fantastic athlete. But, I don't want to see Kendrick Green on the field. Spencer Anderson, I believe went to Oklahoma. I have no idea where Spencer Anderson went. I know we took him in the last round of the draft, and I'm pretty sure he's a tackle, listed as a tackle. But, we'll see. Listen, honestly, if you want my honest opinion on this one, I say Spencer Anderson. We get Spencer Anderson, Kendrick Green, third string, if not cut. I don't know. But we know when Kendrick Green comes in, we know it's not good, at all. Maybe he's in his 3rd, 4th year now. Maybe he has something to prove. Maybe he has something to show. But we changed his position, and that didn't work. Now, for going back to his default position as center, I don't know. I don't think it's going to work. And so my prediction, I'll say Kendrick Green. I'll say Kendrick Green ends up winning the job just because he's been here. However, I think it's a real shot for Spencer Anderson or Ryan to win this job. And if Spencer Anderson in the preseason or something, if don't let me get good Spencer Anderson tape in the NFL. Don't let me see Spencer Anderson blocking in the preseason, bro. Because if he's any good at it, Kendrick Green, once again, bro, it's not personal, but and it's not just me. It's really not just me. Steelers fans, if you guys know, Kendrick Green's not the best. So I'm going Spencer Anderson. I want Spencer Anderson to win this, but I think Kendrick Green will win it. Winner prediction, Kendrick Green, but they should add an external player. I just kind of put the pieces together here. I almost said James Daniels was our starter last year. That was a lie out of me. Our starter at center last year was actually Mason Cole. And Mason Cole is the starter now. So I think James Daniels, he was the backup, option before, but James Daniels is a guard. So my bad. I didn't mean it, guys. Am I casual? I didn't mean it. But I mean, overall, Kendrick Green, I'm not really the biggest fan, but if he ends up winning it just because of experience or whatever, I get it. I'm going to go ahead and read this one first. Starting nose tackle is another key battle that seems to be rather forgotten right now, but this one has a lot of intriguing possibilities. Keanu Benton is the rookie with upside. Brendan Fehako is the stud run stopper. Armin Watts, I forgot about him. Armin Watts is the pass rush specialist, and Montravius Adams is the experienced incumbent. There's 4 rather solid options and all bring different flavors. Benton is the most complete, and he and Watts can play outside of the nose tackle position. That might give Watts a path to making the team outside of this, even if he does win the role. There's 2 spots up for grabs with the backup role there too. I love Benton's upside and body. He's just got a lot to learn, but there's strength and explosiveness and game that raises his instant floor. I think he pulls this out with Faheko's run-stopping abilities, allowing him to make the team. So he has Keanu Benton winning it. To me, the starter. I mean, I guess you got to go with Keanu Benton. The guy's a second-round pick. Brandon Feheko, Armin Watts, and Montravius Adams, I've seen all of them play. Have I seen Armin Watts play? I've heard his name, so I definitely think I've seen Armin Watts play. But once again, we just established I'm a casual. So hopefully Armin Watts has played, and he has played well, because I swear I've seen him play. But anyway, I think you give it to Keanu once again. I think, the second-round pick. Brandon Feheko, Watts, and Adams, I think all 3 of them, as Nick said, they have their specialties, right? But it's not really life-changing. There's a reason why we took a nose tackle in the second round. There's a reason why the position's open to begin with. Keanu Benton, I've seen a lot of stuff on him. Granted, Steelers rookie-wise, you got Joey Porter Jr., you got Darnell Washington, you got Broderick Jones. Rookie-wise, Keanu Benton kind of has fallen, off the media priority list, I guess. But, I mean, he looked like a stud. Second-round pick is a very high pick. Second round, you're still trying to get, immediate impact players. Not immediate impact players. You know what I mean, though? Second round picks, like, there's either immediate impact or like long-term potential that you're looking at. And it's very high too. Like, it's not like Keanu Benton was like a 5th or 6th round pick, competing against Brandon Feheko and Armin Watts and Montravius Adams. No, this is a 2nd round pick competing against Brandon Feheko, Armin Watts, and Montravius Adams. And so with that said, I think you got to give it to Keanu. If there's even a question of if it should be somebody else, I think that's not a good sign. No disrespect to Feheko, Watts, and Adams, but this is just how I see it. So I think I'm going to go with Keanu Benton as the winner, like Nick does at the bottom. And he said Faheko's run-stopping abilities might add him to make the team as well. Maybe. But you know what? I'm going to disagree as well. I'm gonna go Montravius Adams as the backup. I got Keanu Benton as the starter and Montravius Adams as the backup. I don't know. Let me know, Brandon Feheko or Montravius Adams, guys. Let me know who you're taking. Next, right cornerback. Another starting spot is up for grabs on this defense, and it is who plays across from Patrick Peterson. Really, there is competition in the slot too, but Peterson and Chandon Sullivan seem destined to split duties there in some ways. But this one here is right out of the gate. Levi Wallace, Joey Porter Jr., Corey Trice, and even James Pierre to a degree have a claim to this spot in some way. Really, Porter Jr. and Wallace are the 2 to watch despite a strong spring camp from Trice. There is a lot of upside to Porter, and I think his length and football IQ combination allows him to play early. I just think Wallace is a much better player than most people realize. Porter can come in sub packages when Peterson kicks inside. That's fine. But Wallace is a fighter and a good ball player. I expect him to win. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick is taking Levi Wallace over Joey Porter Jr., Corey Trice, and James Pierre. I think Joey Porter Jr. is going to win that. Of course, we just signed Joey Porter Jr. Today, or yesterday, I think. It was kind of taking a while for his rookie contract, but we just signed him. I think Joey Porter Jr. is going to win this. Maybe Levi. This is kind of like the what's with Dan Moore. It's kind of like Dan Moore, where maybe week 1, week 2, very early in the season, you got Levi out. You got Levi out there. You got Dan Moore out there, right? But listen, long term, by middle of the season, I got Joey Porter Jr. and kind of back to the Keanu Benton thing. 2nd round pick, first pick in the 2nd round, pick number 32, damn near a 1st round pick. Levi has experience. Levi is a baller. Levi is a dog. We know that. And there will be a place for him. However, with all I just said, 32, basically a 1st round pick. Levi Wallace, though, as I mentioned, he's a dog. He was one of the big pieces for our secondary last year when we led the league in interceptions. A big surprise too. Maybe I'm sleeping on Levi Wallace. Nick Farbaugh, he's high on it. He's high on Levi Wallace, man. We'll see what happens. So Nick's got Levi. I got Joey Porter Jr. It is what it is. And Corey Trice, I wanted to mention Corey Trice real quick because he has been a pretty big name in like spring training or whatever. Corey Trice is a solid player. Or I shouldn't say that, but Corey Trice has had, a good time of it, but we don't know. We don't know. We don't know if Corey Trice is going to be that guy. We don't know if he's going to be able to, even to be a starter is like, insane. We don't know that yet, but we don't know if he's even, going to be able to play. And so I wanted to just say this because I know there was a lot of people kind of high on him. There was the nickname Avatar Cornerbacks a while ago with him and Joey Porter. I do want to just, kind of bring everybody back down to earth. But hopefully Corey Trice is elite too. Hopefully this is like a story we're going to see of a 7th round pick and just coming in being the best corner in the league. I don't know. And then James Pierre, I love James Pierre. James Pierre is a dog. But you live and die with James Pierre and you die way more than you live. So obviously he can't be the starter. Next, RB3. I really only know Anthony McFarland, Alfonso Graham, Jason Huntley, and Darius Higgins. If you guys are good, that would be amazing. If you guys can beat out Anthony McFarland, that would be amazing. However, I'm going to go with familiarity and Anthony McFarland. We still, he hasn't really got the biggest chance. And I remember in the preseason last year, he was running really hard. I remember in the preseason last year, it was between him and, what's his name? Our backup now, Jaylen Warren. It was between him and Jaylen Warren. And Anthony McFarland, I thought played well in the preseason, but Warren ended up winning the backup job. I think now Anthony McFarland for sure, just like last season, maybe, if not, practice squad RB4, for sure this year, Anthony McFarland should be RB3. Now we'll see in the preseason, Alfonso Graham, Jason Huntley, or Darius Higgins. If you guys freaking just eat, then you do what you do, and we make the decisions. We didn't expect Jaylen Warren, and we got Jaylen Warren, and so if one of these guys is Jaylen Warren and they got to be RB3, then they got to be RB3. But for now, I'm gonna agree with Nick and go Anthony McFarland as well. And punter is on here, and holy shit, I did not expect this. Oh, come on. You had to expect some punter talk here, right? Presley Harvin III and Brandon Mann are going to have a battle. They're both veterans at this point with various things going on for them. Mann has a higher floor, Harvin has the higher ceiling, and both have consistency issues throughout their careers. That's like me reading. Let's be real. That will be the deciding battle in this race. Whichever one of these guys has the best days of stacking successful kicks together will endear themselves to Danny Smith. Mann's resume is a little more consistent than that of Harvin's, so I lean him ever so slightly here. Listen, punter, I know there's been issues. We have had some bad punts with Presley Harvin. And Brandon Mann, did he play for the Steelers? I'm trying to think of it now. I really think Brandon Mann might have given us a game or two. If not, he played for a different team and we just signed him. But if he has played over Presley, that just goes to show you the difference between him and Presley. Like, it wasn't insane enough for me to remember that and be like, yo, we need a new punter. So, I mean, whoever wins it between them, you do your thing. I'm going Presley just because we drafted him and we used a real draft pick on Presley. And on top of that, we haven't seen enough fake punts for my liking. I remember when we drafted him, all we saw was fake punts and deep passes and all these plays. We don't use Presley Harvin for that. And as it turns out, when he's just punting, as Nick said, it's consistency issues. And so, I'm sticking with Presley. However, if Brandon Mann, if Braden Mann, I keep saying Brandon, Braden, if he's a better punter, then go ahead and give it to him. If he's not a better punter, then go ahead and give it to Presley. Pat McAfee, is ESPN paying him enough? Can we do a crowdfunding thing? Let's go get Pat, somebody. But I mean, somebody's going to win it. I'm going Presley. He's going Braden. We'll see. Slot cornerback. I mentioned it above, but slot cornerback is a battle. I'm not sure how much of a true battle it is, though. Is there really a starter to come out of this, or will there be a rotation? I think the latter is likely, but there are about 4 different guys in this battle. Patrick Peterson, Chandon Sullivan, Duke Dawson, and Elijah Riley should all have some sort of say in this battle during training camp. Peterson was brought here to be the versatile guy and help replace Cam Sutton. Sullivan is Arthur Millette's replacement with more flair towards coverage ability than run down blitzing. Riley is a versatile chess piece who so far is the sleeper. Dawson has not played I'm not reading the rest of this. Yo, go get Mike Hilton back, bro. Are you kidding me? Go get Mike Hilton back. Like, what are we even talking about here? Slot cornerback. It should be Mike Hilton. It should have been Mike Hilton. I'm still upset about losing Mike Hilton, guys. I'm still upset about it. I know he's a Bengal. I know, we got to move on. But that, to me, was just a very stupid player we let go of. And imagine if we had Mike Hilton right now. and we do the same moves. We have Mike Hilton, and we have Joey Porter Jr., and we have Patrick Peterson, and we have Corey Trice, and we have Chandon Sullivan. We have all these other corners too, and Levi Wallace, but we just at the same time have Mike Hilton back. That's what I wanted. Really, I don't think it's going to be. I think Patrick Peterson, maybe he'll spend some time in the slot. However, I think he'll probably spend a decent amount of time too on the outside. So it'd probably be Chandon Sullivan, but really, I'm still just salty about losing Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton, the best slot corner in the NFL when he was a Steeler. Now that he's a Bengal, he's not. He's clearly not. But when he was a Steeler, he was the best slot corner in the NFL. And on the Bengals, he plays all right too. But really, I don't know who's going to win this. Chandon Sullivan, I've seen some of him, but Duke Dawson and Elijah Riley, I haven't seen any of them. Duke Dawson is a pretty sick name, though. I'm not going to lie. So maybe Duke off the name. Elijah Riley, too. Elijah Riley, that kind of rolls off the tongue. Maybe Elijah Riley. Let me know. Who you guys got? Chandon, Duke, or Elijah? I'm taking Chandon just off the familiarity. However, we'll see. And returner / last wide receiver spot. So in a previous podcast episode, I mentioned this. But I talked about the wide receivers. And the receivers I said for sure are going to make the team are Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Allen Robinson, and Calvin Austin. Calvin Austin III. That's 4 receivers for sure. No doubt about it are making the team, right? That 5th spot, he's going to lay it down, but I know that 5th spot, it has Miles Boykin, it has Gunner, it has Jordan Byrd, and it has Des Fitzpatrick. Really, it depends on how many we keep. If we keep 5 receivers, it'll be Miles Boykin on the 5th, I think. Because Calvin Austin does returning. And now that I'm thinking about it, if Calvin Austin does punt and kick returning, Gunnar Olszewski is cooked. To me, unless we need depth, unless we need, a backup punt return, kick return guy. If Calvin Austin can do it, Gunnar Olszewski, I don't see a reason for Gunnar to be on the team. On top of him being a double agent last year, he wasn't life-changing. I know we had the Ryan Switzer back there, and that was a whole era. And shout out to Ryan Switzer. I know he got kind of dogged on his way out by Steelers Nation, but we do remember you, Ryan. So shout out to him. I know Deontay has done it a little bit, but we need him to be, our receiver. So I think Calvin Austin wins this with all the hype I've been hearing about Calvin Austin. I think he should be the returner. And Gunnar Olszewski, I mentioned the double agent thing. If you guys don't remember, he fumbled against his old team, New England Patriots. And on top of that, there was a touchdown. There was a Pat Freiermuth touchdown last year that wasn't a touchdown. It really looked like it could have been a touchdown, but Gunnar got in his way. I don't know. So Gunnar, if you see this, I apologize, but I'm just really not the highest on you. And especially if Calvin Austin can do punt and kick returns too, what are we talking about here? So there's that. And Jordan Byrd, I haven't seen him. I have heard a little bit of him in camp. Same thing with Des Fitzpatrick and Hakeem Butler. But if we're keeping five receivers, of course, it's going to be Deontay, George, Allen Robinson, Calvin is 4. And then that 5th one, to me, Miles Boykin. I think Miles Boykin's going to win it. I mentioned it in the podcast, the episode. It was 3 or 4 episodes ago now. But I did mention this before. I think Miles Boykin will win it. If we win a 6th spot, I think maybe we keep Gunner. Just maybe as some depth for Calvin as a returner. And if not, maybe we look at Dez or Hakeem Butler to make the team. But really, if it's 5 positions and if it's 5 spots, 4 of the spots are taken. There's no, unless Calvin Austin gets hurt again or is horrible, which I don't think he is. There's no way Calvin Austin doesn't make the team. So that's the 4th spot right there. And then we know the top 3, Deontay, George, and Allen, all are going to make the team, right? So that's 4. 5th spot, Miles Boykin, easily. Easily. I'll even say Miles Boykin easily because I think Miles Boykin had a great preseason last year. He had a great he played well when we brought him in. And I like him. I like Miles Boykin. So we'll see what happens. As camp develops, as training camp goes on and we get more tape and footage of people, we will see what happens and I will be able to make a more educated decision. But this is on July 26, 2023 at 10:04 p.m. On a Wednesday. So that's, just giving a timestamp. But anyways, I think that is going to do it for the position battles. Hopefully I laid these out as well as Nick laid it out for me to convey to you guys. And let me know who you guys think are going to win some of these position battles. Who you guys got at left tackle? Who you guys got at backup center? Who you guys got at nose tackle? Who you guys got at right cornerback? Who do you guys have as our 3rd string running back? Who do you guys have as our punter? Who do you have as our slot cornerback? And last but not least, who takes the last wide receiver spot / punt and kick returns? Let me know, guys. Anyways, that is going to do it for me for this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. If you want to see more content, watch this video on the screen right here. Otherwise, I will see you in the future. Peace out.